we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for attending the 2026 Security Awareness. We're really excited to present this to you, and what we hope you get out of this is we hope that you understand the landscape of IT security and just security in general, and take away a few things from this presentation that you'll bring into your work and personal lives to make you just a little safer than you were before we started this presentation. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's first start by knowing our enemies. We are, at least I am used to thinking of hackers being these people in these, cafes with hoodies, and have been tech geeks all their lives. And these people still exist, I'm sure. However, things have changed quite a bit. First off, anybody could become a hacker. I don't recommend anybody here becomes a hacker because it is still illegal. But with AI out there, you can get anybody. You can get AI to write you an email that's persuasive to get somebody to give you their bank account information, or even write code that can hack. What's even worse, it is an industry. It is an industry. There are companies like Lockbite that have entire corporate structures, and all they do is create hacks, trying to get people. They have, negotiators. They have HR departments. That one surprised me when I found out that they have executives. Maybe executives don't even know how to hack. Either way, it is now an industry, a multi-billion moving into trillion-dollar industry. And now that you understand that companies can make planes and cars and computers, now you have people pulling together skill sets to create hacks and figure out ways to harm your company, harm you. So let's understand that our enemy is very different than it ever used to be. It is now an industry. Let's go to the next slide, Ree. So we talked about who the hackers are. Now let's go ahead and talk about what do they want, right? What hackers want is they want data for ransomware, right? Lock it down. They want your financial information, your trade secrets. Let's talk about Coca-Cola losing its secret recipe, for example, and even vendor information. With all that type of information, these hackers can either immediately exploit or start to collect information, send it to the R&D department of these industrial places to figure out creative ways to maximally exploit the company. So they'll take the smallest piece of information, even personal information, like they want your driver's license, your social security, your medical information. Once somebody has things like that, your home address and financial information, even if it is as little as what brokerage you use, they can gather this information and better use this information to either immediately exploit you or eventually work to social engineering. And that's a bit of a challenge for folks. So the rule of thumb is, let's understand that we are the weak points. Why most attacks come from outside the domain. And when I say domain, outside your company, outside your home, right? Outside your cell phone. Most of the success is due to what we do as people, right? How we interact to these things. So what we want to do is everything we can do to strengthen the what we call the human firewall, as far as that goes. So as far as social engineering, has anybody experienced being social engineered? Can recall somebody trying to trick you into doing something. Well, guess what, Christy? She's the honest one. Everybody has dealt with it as far as that goes. So when you're dealing with social engineering, right? Um, what they do is they do research. People think that it's like a drive-by with social engineering. That's not what they do. Sometimes these people invest days, weeks, or years finding out about you and then finally moving forward, whether you're sitting at the office or whatever that case may be. What they'll do is they'll research your social media. They'll go ahead and disguise and pretend to be somebody that you know, a relative, a superior, or when they say somebody you know, hey, I know my department has somebody from my company has somebody from ABC department, and they're representing as somebody that you might know because they happen to say the position or the name. And then they create a sense of urgency and try to scare you into doing that. And let's understand that this happens email, it happens over the phone, it can even happen in person. There has been situations where somebody has gathered information and then went up to businesses, got in their door, and wound up stealing information from them personally because they were able to get enough information piece by piece from the employees to get in there. So they basically use psychological tricks to get users to grant them access or steal information. Um, Here's some of the things they do, right? Everybody knows about urgency or time pressure. I'm very comfortable. Every security training you hear about urgency and time pressures, right? I'm comfortable with that. They use fear and panic. Oh, I got to get rid of this pop-up, right? Boom, got to get rid of this pop-up. I'm going to click on it, whatever. It's scary when it comes up. Authority impersonation, impersonating the government, impersonating the CEO. Um, this is the one that I think people minimize, which is authority impersonation, um, posing as the CEO, uh, excuse me, I mean help desk and IT pretending. They call you up and say, hey, I need to be able to get into your computer, right? There's an update that if we don't put that update in, we're going to be locked out. Or they might even say, hey, we have been hacked. I need to get into your computer to update it to protect you from this hack. The irony, right? Um, Social norms or helpfulness. Interestingly enough, a lot of people are animal people. They're avid campers, or they they have their social things that they deal with. And somebody comes up and says, "Help this kitten. This kitten's in trouble. Click on this link to help donate to keep this kitten alive." Right? It's a horrible thing that they do, but they work on your helpfulness. Uh, Saying, hey, social norms, trying to do distractions, be careful of that. Even the kindest things can have evil intentions behind them. Multi-factor authentication lockouts. Um, I've seen this happen where all of a sudden you're talking to somebody, you have uh, two-factor authentication to get into your bank. So you get a phone call and they say, I am your bank, I can prove it, right? I'm going to go ahead and send you two-factor authentication in order to show you I'm me. And they send it to you and they say, give me the code, but it's really somebody that's got your password, try to log into your account and sent you the code and just asked you for it. You gave it to them, right? So just be very careful with things like that. Uh, you can combine both. Has anybody heard of, give me an example of one or more of these things being combined into a single attack at social engineering? Somebody pretending to be your boss and demanding a gift card. Well, Shane, wait a minute. You didn't do that yesterday? Aha. All right. So there are a lot of things. Remember, all these things are used in combination. Ransom virus on computer. Absolutely. They do that all the time. Thank you, Christy, by the way. This is what I'm very passionate about. Everybody's heard of AI. I could say, hey, everybody raise your hand if you heard of AI. Everybody's going to raise their hands. That's the bottom line. We've all heard of it. We've heard the news drum it into our heads. And they say it's going to grow exponentially faster. But the challenge that we have here is I don't think people really understand where those dangers lie and how they will affect you. So what it can do is it can generate natural language text for phishing, mimic voices. Well, AI can get to the point, if they get enough sampling, they can give you a phone call, Christy, that sounds just like your family member. And because they researched your social media, their social media, they now know which family member is likely to be the one that you would believe is there. That's the scary thing about what's happening.
Hello. This is an automated message from the Internal Revenue Service. We have identified an urgent tax issue with your account. Please call us back immediately at 1-800-67 to resolve this matter. Failure to respond may result in account suspension. Thank you.
Right. Everybody hears that. Here's the scary thing. This, we drop into AI, say, make it sound natural, put a name behind it. And within seconds, this is what it puts out to replace it. Go ahead and play that, Ray.
Hey, this is Michael from the IRS. I just wanted to give you a quick call because we've noticed a bit of a mismatch between your reported income and the information we've received from your employer. Could you give us a call back at your earliest convenience? My direct line is 1-800-67. It's really important we sort this out quickly to avoid any issues. Thanks a lot, and yeah, chat soon.
Yeah, this should land with you all pretty hard, knowing that it took us literally 15 seconds to upload that video, tell it to make it natural, that audio, make it natural, and this is what the work product it put out through AI. That is some serious, smarter, faster, and it was super easy for us to use. So this is what I'm kind of stressing. So let's go on into the next slide, Ree. Okay, leaking data on public AI. We go to gemini.google.com. We go to the free ChatGPT. You need to understand any data you put in there from your company, any data you put in there personally is actually leaving your browser, going to a server. Oh, maybe I trust Google. Maybe I don't. I don't know, especially these other different AIs. Everybody's coming up, try this AI, try that AI. This data leaves and goes somewhere else. So if you're just, let's say you work at a medical organization and you just want to draft an email to one of your patients and you want to make sure it sounds right. So you put that in there, you mention a medical issue they're having. Technically, that's a HIPAA compliance because you just sent their medical information to areas unknown. So let's just be very careful about how we use these AI systems, okay? So here's how we're going to defend ourselves. One, human vigilance. Now, we were given some, I love the vigilant word. I am very skeptical. Good job, Christy. That is absolutely awesome as far as that goes. But we want to be skeptical. Skeptical of what we would have normally not been skeptical. Am I actually hearing my daughter on the phone in jail? Right? I'm just saying that's an extreme example, but we want to be skeptical. Next, technical safeguards. We do want to use two-factor authentication, and we want to make sure that we're not providing any of that 2FA information to anything that's unsolicited by you. Meaning if you didn't go to the website, you didn't try to log in, and something just randomly comes up to you and says, calls you, sends you an email and says, we need that code, don't provide it. Limiting digital footprint, we don't have to have everything online. The more you have online, the more information they gather. You keep on posting your food, they find out that you really, really like steak. Next thing you notice, you're getting these phishing emails for these great steakhouses or where you can buy great steak. They're using your information against you. That's what they do. But a culture of verification. Verify before you click the link. Verify before you do anything like that. So that is, just make sure you're doing the right thing. So Ree, let's go ahead and cover some social media.
All right. Yes. Hi, everyone. I do apologize for my technical difficulties there at the beginning. But yes, I will be going ahead and presenting social media here to you all, and then just some common tactics that we do see every day that hackers use with your social media. So if you can quickly here put in the chat anything wrong that you can see with this photo. This is a work selfie, so maybe that in general might be what's wrong with it. But if you can put in the chat really quickly here, if you can spot out any red flags here in this photo. That one here. The ID can be replicated easily. Yes, Michael, that is good. That's a huge one. So they can go ahead and replicate that ID and pretend to be an employee. What are some other things that you see on the screen, on the photo? All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and point them out and see. Oh, yep, see the password, yes, thank you, Stephanie. The password is posted right there for everyone to see. So if I was a business owner, this is definitely not want the information that I'd want out there. Even as an employee, you can see the company goals here and the future plans, password, I mean, all the privacies out there in the open, and the company name on the shirt. So just make sure that when you are taking photos, and if you do take photos, even if you're out like at a company event, that you are being cautious about the information that can be in the background. So there's that there. All right, so that was a lot of information that we just threw out at you all. So what I like to do is I like to take a brain break. So one of the ways I like to do that is just show off my dog. This is Lena. I love her and I miss her so much. She was my very first pet. Does anyone else have, can you remember your first pet and their name? I love having that break here. Oh, someone's already on to me. Correct. Yes. So, Michael, you are right. It is a trap. I am trapping you. But whoever's hamster was named Chipper, very, very nice. But I just wanted to use that as an example because I don't have a dog named Lena. I don't even know this dog. I've never seen this dog in my life. But what I did there is I offered some information that seemed personal to me to kind of gain your trust to see if you were going to fall for that. And that's what a lot of these hackers do on social media. They make these posts that, it says, I bet you can't name all of your pets, like this post and share in 30 seconds, just kind of wanting you to engage like, oh, I bet you can't do that. Or, things that we're proud of. Marriages last for 8 years. How long have you been with your spouse? So questions like that seem innocent and fun and just kind of engaging. It's a trap. Yes, everyone in here, it is a trap, and you are hacker free. You won't have that issue. But yes, that Facebook does have a ton of them, and so I'm going to lead right into the passwords. So that does play into your passwords. People do go on your social media posts, and hackers look for things like, is your birthday viewable to the public? Any information they see, who likes your post, who your friends are, all of that stuff. Just gather information to try to get into your account with your passwords. And this right here is the most common passwords that are guessed. The the top 50 from social media. So as you can see here, there's quite a few, but this site down here will show you the most common passwords, and it actually even filters them by country. So if you want to go ahead and take that link really quick, save it for later, it's a good reference for just kind of getting a perspective of what passwords are out there and what people are using. So that's good. And then like Shane did mention, this will be on YouTube after this presentation, so you will be able to go back and view that for your reference. But I'm going to move right along here and switch it back to Tim, and he's going to go ahead and go over how to create some strong passwords.
Perfect. All right, guys. Passwords, really simple. The number one reason why passwords are weak, because most people know their passwords are weak, is because forgetting passwords and remembering passwords is a pain. No one likes to reset their password, especially if it's the email password, things like that. So they tend to have a lot of the same passwords for many things. However, let's go to the next slide, Ree. Let's talk a little bit about brute force attacks, okay? If you had a password that was 6 characters, well, say 5 characters, and had numbers, uppercase, lowercase, letters, and symbols, a brute force attack would literally instantly hack that password, right? You'll notice that most organizations require at least 9 characters and at least 1 letter or 1 number, right? That puts you from a brute force attack. Can we all see that if we have 1 letter, 1 number, 9 brings you to 5 years to get into a brute force attack. Reality, what we recommend at LeeShanok is that you aim for a 12-character password with numbers, letters, uppercase, lowercase, and if you do that, you're talking millions of years before somebody hacks that. Best way to get something as a passphrase. One of the easiest ways to do that is to pick 2 random words like giraffe and skis, and just random, have nothing to do with your life. Don't pick skis if you ski, right? And then you just put those together, and maybe your password is ski giraffe BA $, for your bank. So what I'm saying is if you want to have, you don't have to remember a lot. Just remember some really random words that have nothing to do with your life, 2 of them that have nothing to do with each other. And that's the easiest way. You can go ahead, there's many sites you can research passphrases and different ways to make them, but I'm presenting you one that generally is relatively safe and easy to do. So let's go to the next slide, Ree. All right. I don't know, anybody here use a password manager at all? Perfect. Okay. So here's some things about password managers. Password managers like Keeper, LastPass, things to that effect. Keep track of your passwords, randomize your passwords, and keep them strong, right? When you're talking about like Keeper, if for your personal use, they'll let you have 1 device, just 1 device, not every device you own, 1 device free license. Some people choose to pay the nominal fee to have Keeper for their personal life, where they can put it on multiple devices. And a lot of works are requiring password managers. Let's go to the next slide, Ree. The reason being is you only have to remember 3 passwords, and they should all be different, but which would be your computer password or your domain login, like when you log into your company. your personal password manager and your company password manager passwords. The rest of your passwords will be brutally randomized. And a lot of people don't know this about password managers. For most systems that are common systems, when you have to change your password, like companies require or systems require password changes, these systems will actually assist you in changing your creating the password and changing the password, so you don't have to go through that whole process. So take a look at them. If you ever want to check if the password you're specifically using has been compromised or is listed as a compromised password, you can go ahead and check that. We have another link that you'll be able to see that from the recorded version, things to that effect. So you can actually check to see if your password is listed on a hacked password list.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and go over multi-factor authentication, which I'm pretty positive we're all familiar with or have heard before. And so what that is, again, is an authenticator app, and it adds an extra layer of security for accessing your important accounts. Duo is our preferred MFA. Attackers are systematically targeting traditional MFA with advanced AI techniques. Duo's proximity verification uses secure Bluetooth to confirm physical presence and eliminate remote threats. And then this has been validated by Kantara, proving phishing resistance against NIST standards, ensuring robust protection without compromising user experience. So that is why we do prefer Duo as our preferred MFA, but we do suggest that you use this along with a password manager to go ahead and keep yourself safe. So there are scams that do go along with multi-factor authentication. And if this does happen to you, it means your password is compromised. If you do receive unexpected push notifications, unexpected SMS codes, or calls asking for an MFA code, then your password can be considered compromised. Never give your SMS or app code to anyone. Here's an example below, and this has happened to me before. I would just randomly get a text, maybe even from Google, saying, Google alert, your account has or just the code. It'll send me the code. And I didn't ask for a code. I didn't request a code or a password reset. So those are some things to look out for. But like the security system alert right here, this is a good example of what you expect to see with those things.
All right, let's talk about phishing. Everybody's going to love this because I'm sure everybody has had the phishing email training and every security training for the past 15 years. Nonetheless, we need to do it again. So let's go ahead to the next slide, Ree. Okay, how do we spot phishing emails? Let's see how much people remember. Let's see it in the chat. By the email address is 100% correct. It's the easiest thing you can check. So be very careful when you're paying attention to where it's coming from. These people are very, very clever and doing that. So you're going to want to look at that. I'm not a big fan saying look at the for misspellings, because you're right, spelling is something, but now all I have to do is take this thing and drop it in an AI and say, make sure I don't have any spelling problems. 4 seconds later, I have a perfect phishing email. So it's not as strong. If there's grammatical problems and things like that, pay attention to those. That's a really good sign. Unless it's an email from me, then it's probably from me. But I'm just saying that's not as strong as it used to be. Always check the from address, since it shows up differently on your email up front. Yes, perfect. Very good things to do for that. And then we have the things we talked about for urgency, things like that. Let's go to the next slide, Ree. Okay, hover over links before you click on them and see where they go. How many people are familiar with hovering over links? Absolutely right. Definitely. So you got to be careful with that too, because it might, it might be legitimate or illegitimate, but there are different, everybody knows the word color. It's spelled differently depending on, even in English, depending on where you're at. So you're absolutely right about that. But hover over your links, make sure you see where that's going to send you before you click on it. And then finally, if you're on a cell phone or something like that, be careful to press and hold. But if you press and hold a link on your cell phone, it'll show you that link as opposed to sending you there. Let's go to the next slide, Ree. Malicious attachments. Be very careful. That happens all the time. So pay attention to why did I get this attachment, and be careful about opening it as far as it goes. And by the way, people, if I'm going really quick through this, I know you've heard all of this 100 times, and there's a lot more valuable information moving. Even though this is very valuable, do pay attention to it. But do the same thing you've been doing for years. I never over links or attachments in email. Good call. Good call. So block reporters. So here's what you can do. You can block these folks. And if you're not sure, you can actually send the email to us, and we'll tell you whether it's a malicious email or not, as far as that goes. There are some tools for some of our clients have more advanced security where they can actually report it directly from within the browser. And Microsoft also has some features like that. So make sure to, if you're uncomfortable with it, make sure to send it and have it reviewed, and we'll be happy to review it for you. Our response time is pretty quick. Physical compromise. All right, I'm going to try to cover this because this is a real life example about fortitude. So I'm going to tell you a real story that happened to a company that cost them tens of thousands of dollars. So these two people, vendor and the person in the accounts payable department, were having just a back and forth conversation. And what they didn't know is the vendor's email was compromised. The vendor didn't know it, and it had been compromised for months. And these people sat there and watched these conversations going back and forth until they saw the perfect conversation happening between the company and their vendor. And then all of a sudden, they get an email. It gets an email responding, yeah, you're right, or whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden, the guy at the company gets that email a second time. Yeah, you're right. It's like, okay, that was weird. I got it twice. And then just engaged in a conversation, got information, and wound up. What happened was, even though it was still in the same exact email stream, he blind CC'd himself, the criminal, in the conversation, and had an email very similar. Remember the Microsoft example I gave you? Had an email extremely similar to the other person, and just took over the whole conversation. Just took over the whole entire conversation. And it was in the middle of a conversation one time with his actual vendor, and next thing you notice, he was talking to somebody else somewhere else and gathering all that. That's a tremendous amount of trust. So you're really going to want to replace one. If you get two of the same reply from somebody, be suspicious, but always pay attention to who's in your email chains. And if have a thing where if they're asking for a lot of money, have a process that you have to verify it before it moves through. So interesting little story. So I just thought I'd share that with you because it's a recent event that actually happened and cost the company tens of thousands of dollars. So be careful, they're clever.
All right, so we're going to move right along to phone scams, smishing and vishing. You might have seen these to your personal devices or just going around recently. a huge one is the USPS ones. I get those almost every day. They say that your package address is incorrect, or you need to update information, or that you've missed a package and it needs to be delivered. Of course, avoid clicking these links in unsolicited messages. Verify the issue directly with the shipping company's official website. If you have an account there, you can log in or create one with your information, and just kind of, just remember things that you ordered, and then, keep in mind that legitimate companies will never ask for personal or financial information through text or email. Again, if you do have an order, check your order status. And then you can always forward suspicious texts to 7726 to your carrier to also go ahead and report that as well. Do not communicate on another app or contact. And this just is when they're asking you, like, I'll get ones like HR examples. Here's one. Hi, my name is Brianna, and I'm a recruiter at Robert Half, which is a well-known company. And then they kind of give more details, but all the details sound a little bit too good to be true. Flexible online hours, work from home, no restrictions, pay ranges 200 to 1,000 per day, things like that. But the main point here, other than identifying, is to not engage outside of where they're asking you to go. How it says, please contact me on WhatsApp. Don't go to WhatsApp. WhatsApp is, if you're not familiar with it, it's just a international communication tool that you can use to communicate with people in other countries. So yes, don't do that. And then I'm going to move right along here to Vishing. Bad actors may call you, lead you to a fake website where you enter credentials that will be stolen. If you do get, any voicemails, and you can easily spot these out with, again, urgency, fear, threats, asking for financial information. They can spoof the caller ID and start just calling whoever to go ahead and leave these voicemails, but you can go ahead and report them at ic3.gov and report fraud.ftc.gov just to keep yourself safe, and what next steps to do in reporting those kind of things.
New text state
Right.
areas.
Yes, I have seen that one as well. Yes.
Do you think that one's from out of state? I don't know. All right, well, let's talk about the Hacker Toolbelt. Okay, these are the things that the hackers use. Let's go to the first slide. And Hacker Toolbelt, USB drives. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because it's not really the same thing, but realize that a USB drive can bring data beyond the firewalls of your organization. I don't know whether folks know this. There is, to a degree, somewhat of a firewall on your modems and routers at home for the most part. But if you bring a USB in with software on it that you got at a trade show, you plug that into your PC or your PC at work, you bypass the firewall that may have stopped it. It isn't as big an issue now, but maybe we all remember when the Pentagon said no USB drives were allowed in the Pentagon anymore because their systems got compromised. So, USBs. Can we go to the next slide, please? All right, what do we got? Owners are told to email the files instead of passing a USB drive. That makes sense. So search results. If you think Google, make sure that the paid search results that come up top don't lead you to a shady organization, because shady, let's admit it, shady organizations are as bad as legitimate organization that do things shady, right? It's just as bad as these criminal organizations. So be really careful. Because they're paying Google to be up top doesn't mean they're safe as far as that goes. Okay, so I've been redirected by these. See, got a witness, right? So rogue Wi-Fi's. This is really, really important. Okay, so there's a couple of things that take place when you're dealing with Wi-Fi. and you connect to a Wi-Fi at the coffee shop, different things like that, we need to understand that there may be somebody that is they're broadcasting a Wi-Fi signal, and you captured that instead of the coffee shop. Even more so, there may not be encryption. There's things called packet sniffers that your data actually flies through the air. Just imagine it is a packet of data flying through the air, and packet sniffers will grab them out. And especially if they're not encrypted, like if you're not at an HTTPS website, your data goes out in plain text, and they just grab it out of the air. So if you're going to use a public, a free Wi-Fi or a public Wi-Fi, we do recommend using a VPN, or make sure to verify the Wi-Fi network you're connecting to is actually the one from the hotel or the coffee shop, because there'll be people there that'll make something with a very similar name. It won't have a password requirement. Like, oh, here's one, boom, you got a problem. Okay. So, all right, next, public charging. Let's keep in mind that when you're in a place and they say, hey, you can go ahead and plug into this USB, you need to be very, very careful that you're not plugging into something that's feeding your device. Basically, I'm just going to keep it super simple, that it's not just power that it's sending to your device. We're all familiar when we plug in USB devices to our phone or our computer, how they immediately react. Hey, I found this device, right? So you got to be careful if you're plugging into any type of portable charging, or you can deal with juice jacking where you're plugging in and they're compromising your device. So you want to be very careful with that as far as that goes. Got the next slide. URL spoofing. I gave you a really good example of URL spoofing with the Microsoft, but what they also do is they make websites that are identical, 100% identical to the website you're using. You couldn't tell the difference. So what you need to make extra sure is double check your address bars, making sure you're at the right place. And remember, your browser will remember where you went. How many people have dealt with, you started to type an address in the browser and it auto-filled it. And then we just go, oh yeah, that's the right one, and moved on. So you also want to be very careful with that you don't have a situation, they say, oh, it's fine, but I'm going to go there directly, but you let an autofill on your browser to do that. So URL spoofing is a thing. So also clickjacking, even more nefarious. What that is you want to play this game online or on your phone. And what happens is you get this game on your phone, and when you load it and you're playing it, what you don't see is beneath that game is your bank account. Things, or your company, things that are verifying that you're connecting with the right device, with a familiar device. And as you're playing the game, they're having you hit the buttons that are actually the buttons to do a process on the other website you can't see beneath. Tell me that's not the scariest thing you ever heard. So you want to be very careful when you go places that you're not in an unreputable place. So next one. Miss Ree, want to tell them about a culture?
Yes, so thank you, Tim, for all of that. I'm going to move right along here and to build a culture of security, which I think is great because it's not only here, the slides that we have gone through with you guys, it's not only don't do this or avoid doing this, it's just telling you also what else you can do to prevent it or to stop it, or what you can do after it happens. So I think that's very important part as well, not just the beginning steps of don't do it or avoid it, but reporting incidents. Define how employees should report an incident. So if you refer back to our slide about the reporting, we give a very clear steps on how to report to the sender, delete, and how to copy it and email it to us so that we can go ahead and let you know if it's safe or not. So having those in place and having everyone aware is super important, so they don't just know not to do it, but they know how they should report it. And when it's reported, you're able to go ahead and have more data and foresight on those things that are coming into your company. And then also create a culture that rewards flagging issues. When users fear punishment, they hide problems. So kind of, again, having that cultivation of culture of just rewarding instead of punishing. So anything that you can incorporate in your business to incentivize the reporting system instead of fearing punishment and hiding the problems. Employees are more, what do you call it? They have more of a desire to want to help and keep the organization safe. Some daily habits, I'm sure we're all aware. Keeping your computer locked when you're away from your screen. Here's a photo of, maybe a coworker, someone who's messed with someone's background or laptop, or if someone sends out a message and on your desktop when you're away from it, like, hey, lunch is on me. I wouldn't want to pay for that. So make sure you keep your computers locked. And then I'm sure you're all familiar, but just to reiterate, the Windows key plus L is how you go ahead and do that. But I do have a fun knowledge check here for everyone before we go ahead and wrap up. And I do want to say again, thank you all for attending and engaging. The engagement has been great, and you guys display already such a great knowledge on these topics. So I'm glad that we're all kind of caught up and able to go ahead and identify newer techniques that have been happening and how we can prevent those things. But I will go ahead and ask here, how many passwords do you need to remember? If you can go ahead and put those in the chat. If you can remember the magic number 3. Okay, perfect. Yes. Awesome. All right. And then what is the name of a hacking technique that we've mentioned today? I know we've mentioned a whole lot and threw a whole lot of information at you, but you guys have shown that you, yep, social, phishing, yep, all the shing ones. All right. And then how do you report a suspicious email? Specifically with us, how can we help you? Yep, email. Perfect. Yep, right click to forward. Perfect. Oh, you guys really paid attention. Well, I'm glad we didn't put you to sleep. So Tim's going to go ahead and wrap it up here for us. But thank you all, and we appreciate you.
All right. Thank you guys. And all I want is one commitment: is you take everything that we learn and apply it in every way in your life, or at least take one thing that you learned from here and apply it to your life. The most important things and what you've learned. You will get certificates of completion. There will be a recording of this once I watch it and make sure I approve of it. No, I'm just kidding. But either way, you guys were great. And thank you for attending the 2026 security training.